As a sheriff, of Riverside County, give us some of the things that you run into. Whether it's what happened during election, the 600 something thousand votes, whether it's the types of crime you've seen, whether it's the types of people that are crossing a border that makes it all the way up to where you're at.
Yeah.
Maybe give us the conditions of what it's like in California, specifically with Riverside County.
Yeah, Riverside County, we're a big county, 2.5 million people. We're not a border county, but from a law enforcement and from a federal government perspective, we're considered a border county because of our freeway systems and we have checkpoints in our county. So even though I'm one county away from our southern border, the Border Patrol and immigration and all those consider us a border county. So people-wise, demographic-wise, we're a good representation of all of California. We've got big cities with 200 and 350,000 people, 250,000 people. We've got numerous ones of those. We're resort communities, and the entire Palm Springs, Palm Desert area is all resort communities, snowbirds. Massive farming from our southern border all the way through Riverside County is massive, massive farming. Mountain areas with snow. The demographics, I have everything. So
Lake Arrowhead is you?
No, that's San Bernardino. So we have Idlewild. We don't have a ski resort or anything like that, but we've got mountain communities.
Is Yucca Valley you?
Yucca Valley, San Bernardino.
Yucca Valley, San Bernardino.
Yeah.
Got it.
So we share a border that goes almost from the edge of LA. They touch LA.
Can you pull it up though just to see the map?
And we share that border that goes all the way across over to Arizona. So San Bernardino is just right above us. From right there, they go up. They're probably twice as thick as we are. Yep. And then both of us go all the way over here to the Arizona border.
All the way?
Yeah. So it's a big, 7,800 square miles is what I have. But we have the freeways that come in. We have the 15 that comes up from the south, the 10 coming in, and they intersect in my county. So as far as drug trafficking, human trafficking, the open border that we had, we were the center of that because of the freeway systems. The 15 going up north across the country and the 10 going south across the country, and then the 5 and the 15 that come up from San Diego.
What are some things you saw? Like what have you seen from the immigration, the border, the open order that we had under Biden? What are some things you experienced with people coming up to your county?
It was massive. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands, millions of people that came through the southern border and then got disseminated through the rest of the country from us. But from a law enforcement perspective, massive amounts of drugs. Fentanyl came from the southern border up into us and then disseminated throughout the rest of the country. Human trafficking, whether it's labor trafficking or sex trafficking. But
do you have any cases? Like, typically when I bring I like to bring Sheriff Judd Grady on, and he'll tell me
Grady's
stories.
A good man.
Yeah, he's a good man. But I have a lot of respect for what you guys do as sheriffs. It's not an easy job. But it's good for the audience to know what is really going on, because not all of it makes it into the news, and they're not going to tell the news cycle. Give us some of the big cases that you experienced.
What I have built is a massive human trafficking task force team. And so we've got tons of people in my department but then we operate also with task forces and we bring them in too. But that was since I took over. That's been a heart thing for me, is trafficking kids, sex trafficking. And so I built that to where now my guys are traveling the country teaching others what we're doing, what we're looking for, and we have a little different aspect because we don't. I don't want to get. We can if you want, but human trafficking, sex trafficking, prostitution, and all of those things, they call it a blade. A blade is where you can go, and it's blocks and blocks of where the prostitutes are hanging out, the pimps are all hanging out. We don't have any of that in our county, so we're very, very unique. So ours is all resort-based or hotel-based or event-based. And a lot of people aren't like that. It's easy to find where your human trafficking victims are if they're all concentrated in one area and they're walking the streets. But ours isn't like that. So we get that experience from others through San Diego or Los Angeles, but then they're not getting that experience of what we have, that you can't just go look for the blade and then try and find these victims. You actually have to go out and try and find them. So it's a little bit unique, and it's caused because of the freeway system. It's the 10 and the 15 are just massive transportation routes for these girls and boys that are being sex trafficked. And that goes through my county. So we have a big part of that. And then the drugs are the same thing. So it's the same freeway system.
What's the biggest bust you've had for human trafficking or sex or drugs?
I don't know about the biggest. I mean, we arrest we arrest people with tons of fentanyl.
Do you see that? Is it weekly? Is it monthly?
Oh, we're having hundreds and hundreds of pounds weekly.
Fentanyl getting caught.
Oh yeah, that's not what's yes, hundreds of pounds weekly.
And is it by 5 people? Is it by 50? Is it by 100? How many different cases account for the hundreds of pounds?
Probably 10.
Okay.
Probably 10.
Do you notice a pattern of who's typically doing it, in what area, tied to who?
Yes. I mean, we have patterns of what we look for. It's an art. The people that we have trained in finding this, it's not only the undercover guys that are out with CIs and trying to find information. It's utilizing those freeway systems and the roadways, and we call it interdiction. And this is a nationwide thing, but we're one of the biggest interdiction teams. And it's profiling. I mean, you're looking at things on the road, but we're training our deputies to notice things, patterns that are different on the roadway. And sometimes it's even funny about whether you brake when you see a cop or knowing what a car is supposed to look like, but it's tilted. You're just
Slight
seeing
angle.
it. Yes. So it's got 500 pounds of methamphetamine in the back axle. It's going to ride different than a regular car that doesn't have that. And they're just things that we look for, and they're good. They're good. It blows me away when they do it. You know, I sit with them and they're like, "Oh, that one," and we'll go stop it. And sure enough, sometimes it's empty, and they're whatever it was that they keyed on. We found the compartment, but it was empty. But we know that they're either involved in it, and then we'll follow them. We'll put trackers.
Is it tied to a certain gang? Do you notice?
It's cartel.
Mexican
it's not gang.
cartel.
Yeah, it's cartel. I mean, there are sometimes during the Biden administration when human trafficking was so prolific, the cartels made more money off of humans. So they actually allowed gangs, even non-Hispanic gangs, to take over the drug trade. They still controlled it south of the border, but they were allowing the gangs to go get it, transport it, and get it into the country and disseminate it because the cartels were making more money off of humans. But that changed. As soon as Trump came in and locked down the border again, it all went back. So now it's cartel that has all of the drug trade again.
What interaction have you had with the cartels yourself?
Myself, none. I mean, when I was a deputy, we would arrest people that we knew were cartel members. Unfortunately, I mean, this is a bad thing for me. People use it as a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because we're the ones that arrested them. But we arrested one of our own employees that we end up finding out is related to a very high up cartel member, and he himself, by association and everything else, was running drugs, running fentanyl for the cartel.
As a cop himself,
he was a very young kid, and when looking back, he had nothing negative in his background, and it's almost one of those things where you have to ask, was this on purpose? Did they purposely
George
do
Alberto
it? Alceguera, Roca, yeah.
September 200, transporting 104 pounds of fentanyl pills.
Yeah. And his uncle, and we ended up talking to his mom and everything else. The mom was extremely, extremely disappointed. She knew what her family was into, but she thought she had shielded her kid from it. But his uncle had hooked him up, and they had become business partners, I guess. And in our investigation, we let it go for a little bit to make sure. We have to figure out if there's more. We have to figure out what he's doing, and it didn't have anything to do with the jails. It was cartel smuggling of fentanyl and trafficking, and so we ended up.
How did he get caught? I mean, 520,000 pills.
We stopped him. We stopped. We do great work in drug investigations, so we knew that he was going to pick up a load of fentanyl.
Did one of your own leak it, or did one of the informants, or did one of your guys that is working undercover leak it?
It was a combination of one of our guys and a federal investigation. So we had one of our guys on a federal task force, and they came up with the possible, so they gave it to us, and then we looked into him ourselves outside of that other investigation where he was identified.
And in this case, with the 520,000 pills, how much money was he going to make off this? Is it $1 a pill, 50 cents a pill, 10 cents a pill?
It's probably $10 a pill.
So he was going to make 5.2 million.
He wouldn't. I mean, you know what he's making? I have no idea. I mean, his uncle was probably making a boatload of money because he was pretty high up in the cartel. He was a high up person
in the States or in
the
Sinaloa?
States.
In the States. Did he also get caught? The uncle?
By someone else. That was a different investigation. So that's usually how drug investigations work. It's not just one investigation that you try and find everybody. It's we're doing this investigation and we identified possibly this kid, so they notify us and then we start doing that. But there were other people doing it. It's spiders. It's a big spider web. A drug investigation is not just one little thing looking for one single person. It's probably this investigation there was probably several hundred law enforcement officers, either local or federal, that were working in this investigation, how big it was.
And how does he not know that they're watching him for him not to screw off?
Well, that's our role, or that's our job, is to make sure we don't get caught while we're trying to catch them. They're trying to get away. We're trying to catch them. It's one of your guys.
It's one of your deputies. So
that's one of our deputies.
Yeah, Grady had a similar case as well. As one of his deputies they had to go catch, and it was same thing. He had to call his parents. It's got to be a tough job when it's your own guys. And this guy was a younger guy. You were saying it was in his mid-20s.
Yeah, and everything in his background, he was a great kid. He had a great upbringing. His mom raised him well. He was a fantastic employee. It was a complete shock to his peers and his supervisors when we arrested him.
How long is he facing now?
It's
a 10 plus?
It should be.
For 520,000 pills, 100 pounds.
Yeah, I haven't been paying attention to the court case, and that's the bad part about the justice system. Unless you take a deal, it takes forever.
Unless if you take a deal, it takes forever. Okay. When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here. What's your interaction been with Newsom? Have you had any?
Zero.
Zero interaction with Newsom?
Zero.
He hasn't called you. He hasn't paid you a visit.
No.
Is that normal?
Absolutely not. It's never been normal through what any sheriff can remember. And you have to remember, there's like 2, 3, 4 back sheriffs that are still alive, that still come to our meetings, and they've never experienced anything like this. So as far as anybody can remember, governors always come to our meetings. We have meetings every 2 months, all the sheriffs in the state. And the governor was always present. Or if the governor couldn't make it, he would send a representative to either get feedback from us, that dialogue. And it's all across the state. So our meetings, we rotate all across the state.
So historically, the governor of California would visit that meeting that you guys had every other month with the sheriff?
Yes.
How many total sheriffs does California
58.
have? 58. Mm-hmm. Okay, historically it happens. How often is he at these meetings?
Zero. He's never met with sheriffs. So when I started this campaign, that came out, that we have a governor who does not engage with the number one issue that people care about in California, and that's law enforcement. He and his decisions with our prisons are destroying our county jails, but yet he won't meet with us. The laws that he is signing into place that are allowing criminal activity to flourish in California, he won't meet with us to discuss them. the bills that are going through that we try and get to him because we know they're going to pass and they're going to be on his desk. So we try and meet with him so we can tell them the consequences, the negative consequences if he signs this bill. He absolutely refuses to meet with us. So when I brought this up after I started running for this position, I made a comment on a show, on a news show, and that went completely viral because no one can believe that the governor doesn't have a relationship with law enforcement. And so he reached out to a small handful of sheriffs and said, come have a meeting with me. They went, they arrived at his office. They said it was the biggest waste of time in the world. But all he did it for is so I can't say he's never met with us, because he did meet one time where he called 5 of them. It wasn't the leadership. I mean, currently I'm the president of our Sheriff's Association in California. He's not going to reach out to me. He didn't reach out to the president at the time or any of the board of directors. He's hand selected who he thought were going to be favorable to his position, which they're not. I mean, we have Democrat sheriffs. They're supporting me. They're not supporting anybody else.
Yeah, I just pulled it up right now. What percentage of sheriffs in California are Democrats and Republicans? It says roughly 35 to 45 lean Republican, 10 to 20 lean Democrat. Does that sound about right? That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And even the Democrats, I'm assuming it's not leftists. It's more center leftist Democrats.
Absolutely.
Are there any leftist sheriffs?
No.
Is it possible to be a leftist sheriff?
Not in California, because if you're a leftist, you're anti-law enforcement. You're anti-public safety. That's just an absolute fact.
Have they tried to campaign around somebody that would bring the leftist policies in as a sheriff?
Yes, and they've even gone further. So my election used to be on the governor's cycle. In the midterms is when every sheriff in the state was elected at the same time. Our elections were all on the governor's cycle, which is right now. So in 2022, they tried to change it and they specifically said, and it was joked in Sacramento, it's the Bianco law. Because of COVID, what I did with COVID, and then other sheriffs across the state started standing up too, they figured out we can't control the sheriffs. We need to get those people out. We need to get the right wing, the Republican sheriffs out. And so in California, they said that, and it's not even close, far more Democrats come out to vote for the presidential election than the governor election. It's just a numbers thing. So if you go back in history, more people show up for a presidential election and they vote Democrat. So they changed the law in California of when my election was going to be, and they moved it to the presidential cycle, which it should have been in the 2024 election. But we immediately sued because we're in the Constitution. It's a 4-year term that people elect us to. And the judge ruled that you can't shrink our constitutionally elected term, so they had to add 2 years to it. So my 2022 election should have ended in 2026, but it really ends in 2028 now, which really, that's the only reason why that allowed me to run, because I would never give up my position as sheriff and run for governor instead of a sheriff election. So they are actively trying to get rid of Republican pro-public safety sheriffs, just like DAs, just like they're trying to get very leftist DAs elected so they don't prosecute crime anymore. They don't want conservative Republican sheriffs because we're trying to keep people safe and we're combating criminals. And there's an enabling of criminals in California.
Yeah, I mean, the DNA of a sheriff is, I don't know what sport, if they were to do a survey to see what sport sheriffs played, they probably played defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. They probably played defense, football, probably good, infielders who are preventing the guy from scoring because it's the defensive protecting mentality, right? You almost have to, you got a few kids, right? One of the kids is always going to be like I got one of my kids super protective. The other one is chill. But one of them is super protective. God forbid you do something. It's in the instinct. So it's kind of hard to get the instinct of a liberal to have the true instinct of a protector.
Yeah.
It's a different mindset they have than a true protector. And I would assume those are the guys that would want to become sheriffs. But you're fighting against the rest that are, teachers that become teachers union in California. Those guys are like the mob, the amount of power and control they have. And they don't like people like you.
No, not at all. And then even the elected officials, if you look at a lot of our elected officials, they didn't have jobs to begin with outside of politics. They got out of college, they were a staffer for somebody, they did that for several years, then got on a local elected board and then progressed through that, and then now they're just career politicians. There are not too many Democrats in California that were successful business people that decided they were going to now run for political office. They were attorneys that never practiced law, that went to law school and then got into politics.
You live in California, so you see a lot of this stuff. 2028 is around the corner. Newsom's going to be one of the candidates. A lot of people say he's the leading guy. I think AOC is going to be competitive as well. There's a lot of other names that are coming up. What do you know about Newsom that the rest of America doesn't know that they should? He's
a lying fraud. Everyone in California knows that. He gets up and he goes on these podcasts, or he goes across does a tour across the states and talks to town halls or something in other states and talks about California, and it's like, what is he talking about? That's not what we are. That's not who we are. That isn't even what life is like here. But he is, and he's good. I will tell you this: I don't like him at all. He is a very disingenuous, dishonest narcissist. But there might not be a better politician. He is a talker. He can talk his way out of anything, and he's good at it. So I have to give him that. He's definitely a fantastic politician. But I'm hoping that people are sick and tired of politicians. There's nothing he says is true. I mean, when he says that he's lowering homeless in California, I mean, where? When he says how, what a great job San Francisco was, that he cleaned up San Francisco, where? In one weekend, just because you went in and you moved them all to the outside, hosed down the streets so you could let the Chinese president drive through, and then it tried to make China think and then the rest of the country think that San Francisco was okay again? It wasn't. The next weekend, it was back to trash. He's just completely dishonest.
How would you fix the homelessness problem? I mean, this guy had
Very
$24
easy.
billion.
Very easy.
Do it.
There's no intent. The people who we call homeless, what we see on the street, living on our sidewalks, living under overpasses, they are nothing but pawns in this homeless industrial complex money laundering scheme. That's all it is. There is the money gets distributed to nonprofits and NGOs, and it stops one or two levels down. It doesn't get down to here where the homeless are, where they're suffering. They don't care about them. They are nothing but pawns. And if you really look into it, where that money is going, they call them body brokers to travel the country, bring people into Los Angeles, so they can milk their Medicare and everything else. And as soon as it's done, they just kick them out the door, and now they're living on the street. And that's a business because they're getting money for their nonprofits. They're also milking the medical industry, the medical system for all of that money. And they're just a pawn, and they don't care about those people. I honestly care about them. I actually can have honest conversations with them and get them to talk. They're still regular people. Most of them are on drugs. Most of them have a mental health condition, probably caused by drugs or at least exacerbated by drugs. But you can still have conversations with them. They're whacked out sometimes. You can't be afraid of them. And that's what all of these politicians are. They're not having conversations with them. They're real people that had families or have families that they haven't seen their families in 10 years, 15 years because they had to leave. They got kicked out of their family because of the issues that they had. So we're just going to address it for what it is, and it's certainly not homes. Stop calling it homes. It's drug and alcohol abuse. It's mental illness. It's drug and alcohol-induced psychosis. It's mental illness that is exacerbated by drugs. So you have to address the drug problem. You have to address the mental health problem. And then if you want a tiny little bit of proof, and this is not proof, but this is a cop looking at everything in totality saying it doesn't make sense. The year before they legalized drugs in California, 2014, 2013, they passed a law that said you can't treat mental health and drug abuse at the same time. Then they made drugs legal. And then if you go back to 2014 and you look at the numbers in California for homeless, it's always constant until 2014 when drugs became legal. That graph goes straight up at a 45-degree angle. And it's not going to stop because it's purposely being made. So you have to end the drug and alcohol problem, the forcing them onto the streets with the mental health problems. And we thought we were going to be successful with Prop 36 because that changed Prop 47 back in 2014. And it was going to allow us the ability again to get them into drug and alcohol treatment centers. Newsom won't fund it. He won't give us the money for the drug and alcohol treatment centers. He won't give us the funding for the mental health treatment centers. So now we're just stuck. So 70% of the state, every single county, 70% of the state voted for this, for a change in direction of public safety for mental health, drug and alcohol, and theft. And Newsom and the legislature will not give us the money for it. It's going to be very easy. You stop all of the money that's going to the NGOs and the nonprofits. You use a small portion of that for the capacity to treat these people with drug and alcohol treatment centers, mental health treatment centers. And this is the big one. It's that one that does both. Because if I, as a cop, go out and find somebody and they've hit rock bottom and we say, hey, can I get you some help? There's a center I can get you in. And they say, yes, I'm at rock bottom. I need help. We take them into that treatment center for drugs. And one of the intake questions is, have you ever suffered a mental health condition, treated for a mental health condition? And if they say yes, they can't treat them. They just kick them out the door. The system has been set up like this. So when you treat it for what it is, we are going to fix it. And I guarantee you, it can be eliminated. What we see in California with the people living in the sidewalks, people living underneath overpasses and in parks, 2 years. 2 years max, it will be eliminated.
When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here. While you guys are doing your thing, you got Spencer Pratt also making a lot of noise. How often do you communicate with him? What do you think about
I text him every once in a while. I think he's doing a good job. I hope he's able to reach enough people. I think that where people are in Los Angeles, they've been abused for so long. I hope that he's able to show how dishonest they are. Karen Bass. I mean, you're talking about MacArthur Park, where they're making a big deal of MacArthur. MacArthur Park has been trash for decades, and she didn't want to do anything about it. And then she's surprised, or she says they're working on it when they do that big raid and go in. And it's like, it was just a short time ago that she said how great MacArthur Park was and that ICE was destroying it. But the reality is it's her drug policies, it's her homeless policies, and they just allow that to happen. She has 50 square blocks of homeless that they just call Skid Row, and then somehow they've made that normal in our heads. Well, it's Skid Row. It's 50 square blocks of people living on the sidewalk, living in the street, in squalor. Their skin's rotting, and they're dying. And nobody cares. Tell me how we have come to that place in society. And it's because of politics. They're pawns. Every single year they talk about they're going to put more money toward the homeless. We're going to get more affordable housing. It's all purposely not affordable. It's purposely forcing them onto the street so they can keep that money going. And we know they've already showed the links of these people that are getting the majority of this money on how they donate to the same causes. the money, a portion of that money is going back into the election coffers of these people that are in these positions.
What is this, Rob, that you have in MacArthur Park?
This was a post from 2 days ago where a gentleman died on the sidewalk after they were trying to revive him. They spent 35 minutes trying to respond to revive him, a suspected drug overdose.
What can you press show more? Fire responders will do everything they're being.
That's the last sentence is the most important.
This is no longer shocking in Los Angeles.
Okay, so I was driving down to I was going to spend the day at Skid Row. So we're driving down to go to the LAPD police precinct. We're driving down the street. On the sidewalk is a dead lady. She's laying there dead. There's police tape just around her just to get it on the sidewalk, and everybody just walking around her like it's okay. It's just normal. It's just another dead person. And so we're driving down, and I'm like, and so we got to the police station, and we're like, do you think that lady's dead? And so we get to the police station. I'm like, we think there's a dead, and they're like, oh yeah, she's dead. And it's business as usual with a dead woman on the sidewalk. And that right there, what that last statement was, is this is just normal now. This has become a way of life in Los Angeles. And that's not how it's supposed to be. But it is what's been driven because of horrific policy, government policy. And then the thing about Steve and I, and what we're even talking about, is you can't blame it on anything other than Democrat policy. Because Democrats in California run everything. Democrats completely run our education system. We're failing. We're the worst in the country. They completely run state government. Supermajority in state government. They can do anything they want. If they wanted that gas tax removed, they could do it today. If they wanted houses to be cheaper to be built, they could do it today. It's an agenda. It's an ideological agenda of making California less populated. That's why they don't care that 6 years in a row people are fleeing California. Any other state, if they have a net migration out, they panic and they try and remove it and fix it. And how can we keep them here?
Not California.
California is purposely forcing everyone out. They don't want your businesses there because you have jobs. They don't want jobs there. They want people going somewhere else. They can't have starter homes for kids coming out of college because they want less population. So the only homes being built are for older people that can afford the $1 million home or the $1.4 million home. There are no $250,000 homes being built. There's no $500,000 homes being built because they don't want that generation to be able to afford a home. Tell them to move to another state. It's an ideological agenda that's being controlled by regulation. Environmentalists control the regulatory cycles of California. But the good thing is, every single regulation can be signed away by the governor. Every single regulation. It's not a law. Nobody voted on it. Yeah. And the governor has the power to remove them. And the regulatory, probably 60 to 70% of the major issues for us in California come from the regulatory environment. And we can stop them all on day one. The big issue with this election is it's not, I mean, Steve's saying the same things I'm saying. I'm saying a little bit bolder. I want to do away with all income tax. He wants it just for $100,000 and below. I want nobody to pay income tax. Why are there 10 states that are doing really well right now that don't have an income tax? Why do we have the highest? It's just that's how it's set up. And then it makes it volatile because now they're all leaving. One of the issues with tax in California, 140,000 people. The top 140,000 people pay 52% of the taxes in California. Mm-hmm. So if those think of how easy it would be for those 140,000 people to decide that they're just going to leave. They could leave next week, and then the state fails because it's almost like a house of cards that's been set up.
And they're thinking about it. So it's not like they're not thinking about, they're not entertaining the idea of leaving. They're literally
We're all thinking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you remove that, when you create an environment where now California is business friendly, then the businesses come back. When you create an environment where we'll utilize all of our own oil instead of buying it from other places, making them rich, then you get the benefit of that revenue for the state.
The fact that you guys buy oil from Iraq.
It's crazy.
How the hell? The average person doesn't know that.
No, they don't. But that's what people are finding out now. So the issue that we have in California right now in this election, if we don't win this election, if the Republican doesn't win this election, I don't know if we'll ever be able to win another election in California, because I don't know if it can get worse.
No, I typically in every campaign, people say this is a consequential election, all this other stuff. It's just the longer you take to bring a Republican in, their claws get deeper. And the deeper it gets, the more control of the whole thing they have. So the reality of it is, for long-term people who are willing to move, they're fine, because they can go to Nevada, they can go to Texas, they can go to Florida. But there are Angelenos and Californians that don't want to leave California.
Right.
You're either part of the mamas and papas California dreaming, or you're part of Tupac, California knows how to party, or even Biggie going back to LA. There's all these songs about California, LA. The history is so rich. It's such a beautiful place. So the people that love it and they got to fight for it, they have to get involved. So if the average person's watching this around, like, forget about it, there's nothing I can do. Find a way to go support. You got to, if you're not leaving your state, you better get involved in politics.
Yes.
If you're not planning on leaving California, you better get involved in because we got a lot of people from California that watch the podcast. If you have no desire to leave, I've been selling Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Nevada. But if you're like, there's no way I'm leaving, well, then guess what? Get out there and get involved. Whether it's yourself or Hilton or whoever it is, the idea is get involved, get behind a candidate.
And that's my argument for this, is we know we have to get a Republican to win. And my opinion, obviously Steve's going to differ. I think he's wrong. I wouldn't have got in this if I didn't think I was the only person to win. I enjoy my job. I think I have a better job than being governor currently. I'm the only one that's going to win this election in November. This election isn't about June. This is about November. The Democrat Party for a year has not been raising money to fight Steve Hilton. They've been raising money to fight Chad Bianco.
When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.